भारत मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी है, लोकतंत्र की जननी भी है, मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी भी है, मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी है.
The mother of democracy rhetoric sounds great. But what is the real state of a democracy? Since 2018, India has been rated an electoral autocracy. And in this year's V-Dem democracy report, India has been called one of the worst autocratisers. India has slipped further. So in this episode of Let Me Explain, I look at two questions. Why is India slipping in the democracy index? And how has the Modi government reacted to this?
अब इसका जवाब देना मेरे लिए बड़ा मुश्किल है.
Let me explain. For a healthy democracy, we need an independent media, one that does not do the bidding of either the government or corporates. So become a paid TNM subscriber today so you can power independent journalism. In a few days from now, the highest number of voters in history will vote in the Indian parliamentary elections. An estimated 969 million voters are registered to vote to elect 543 members to the Lok Sabha. But under Prime Minister Modi, the health of our democracy is slipping. No, this is not me saying it. According to Varieties of Democracy or V-Dem 2024 report, India's democracy is in the 104th position, and this is among 179 countries worldwide. India under the Modi-led NDA government has been called one of the worst autocratisers lately by the report. V-Dem says the level of liberal democracy enjoyed by the average Indian now is down to the levels last seen in 1975. This is when Indira Gandhi had declared state of emergency in India. V-Dem is a Sweden-based research project that assesses the state of democracy around the world. V-Dem's data sets measures aspects of democracy like civil liberties, government functioning, and electoral processes. Under the Liberal Democratic Index, that's LDI, V-Dem categorizes regimes worldwide into four categories: liberal democracy, electoral democracy, electoral autocracy, and a closed autocracy. And since 2018, India has been put in the third category, that is in electoral autocracy. So let's quickly look at what an electoral autocracy means. It's a system where elections happen, but the process may not be free and fair. Citizens may technically have the opportunity to vote, but elections may be manipulated or used by the ruling regime to maintain its grip on power. Restricting political opposition, different methods of controlling the media, manipulating electoral laws, and suppressing dissent are some of the traits of an electoral autocracy. Well, some of these might seem to ring a bell for those of us here in India. Let's look at some of the observations the political scientists and experts have made. The report observes gradual and substantial deterioration of freedom of expression. This comprises independence of the media, crackdowns on social media, harassment of journalists critical of the government, as well as attacks on civil society and intimidation of the opposition. V-Dem accuses the BJP government under Modi as being anti-pluralist and using laws such as sedition, defamation, and counter-terrorism to silence critics. The Modi-led government also continues to suppress the freedom of religious rights, the VDemreport observes. Intimidation of political opponents and people protesting government policies, as well as silencing the dissent of academics, are now prevalent, the report says. India has around 18% of the world's population, and the report says that Indian population accounts for about half of the population living in autocratizing countries. Let's look at how the report defines a liberal democracy. Here are some of the parameters: regular, free and fair elections, judicial independence, protection of civil liberties, and equality before law. In 2023, India's ranking in the World Press Freedom Index slipped to 161 out of 180 countries. Even countries in our neighbourhoods like Pakistan, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka have fared better than us. The index is rated by Reporters Without Borders, that's RSF. RSF has pointed out that there are visibly mutually beneficial relationships between journalists and the Modi government. And against journalists who don't fall in this category, that is, journalists who are critical of the government, charges of defamation, sedition, and endangering national security are increasingly used, and they're branded as anti-national. All too familiar. The report also said that concentration of media ownership is one of the issues for freedom of press. This is exactly why we keep saying who owns the media decides how independent it really is. If it's funded by corporates who do government's bidding, then you can imagine how free the journalists working there really will be. So make sure that you scan this QR code and do your bit to keep media independent and through that democracy alive. As for crackdown on opposition, the bank accounts of India's main opposition party, the Congress, has been frozen by the IT department. Recently, I did an episode of LME on this, detailing what the problems were and how the Congress is coping. You can watch that episode. The link is in the description below. That's not all. 2 chief ministers, both belonging to opposition parties, have been imprisoned. While one of them, Hemant Soren, stepped down as the chief minister of Jharkhand, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is still a CM in prison. Accusations of central agencies like ED, IT and CBI being used by the Modi government to intimidate the opposition are heard so often. The BJP, of course, denies all these charges, but here's why their denial is hard to believe. Why is there no action against BJP leaders? Why do cases against so many opposition leaders get dropped right after they join the BJP? Now let's take a look at how the Modi government has been reacting to all this. The US State Department and Germany's Foreign Office have expressed concern on the suppression of political dissent and political opposition in India. The Ministry of External Affairs, that's the MEA, has strongly objected to this and said that it's an internal matter. Now, this is a line that has been repeated for so many years. An Al Jazeera report says that the Modi government now plans to conduct its own report to counter the recent downgrades in ratings and severe criticisms by international groups. So put out your own data where you can say whatever you want. Sanju Verma, a BJP spokesperson, blamed this too on who else? George Soros.
V-Dem is funded by the George Soros and the Pierre Omidyar network. George Soros has no love lost for the Modi dispensation, and there have been ample proofs of that in the recent past.
If you too are tired of shouting matches like this one, then you get to choose journalism that is sane and constructive. We are giving you the power to choose the kind of topics that interest you and support them. Check out the News Minute and News Laundry Joint Fund for the Lok Sabha elections. See what interests you and support real journalism from the ground and not just studios. That's it from me for this episode. Do tell me what you thought. Make sure you leave your comments in the comment section. Like this video, share this video, and do make sure that you do your bit to support independent journalism.